Hello, everybody. It's Juan Romero here. And so I've decided to go over hopefully three sections, or rather three passages, and we can go over the other two in class next Saturday. Um, so the three passages I chose were what I believe to be the slightly easier ones. So the first three, because personally, I found the Virginia Woolf one a little bit more challenging because um, it took place in the past, and so I'm assuming maybe you guys felt similarly. And the last passage, which contained um, two passages, and as I always say, I think usually those can be the hardest ones as well, because you always have to, well, not so much with this SAT actually, but you tend to have to, um, what some might consider look rather introspect and use details that may not be in the story, or rather in the passage. And so I want to show you that in class, that's not really the case. That again, everything comes back to, can you prove that in the passage? And that has always been our method of, answering questions. Um, and so why don't we start here with the first passage of the first three that I'm going to go over. So I'm hoping you've read it. I hope you have your paper in front of you so you can sort of look yourself. But basically, this is a passage about a boy named Akira who has come to some woman's house, Naomi, Chie's house, to basically ask Chie for her daughter's hand in marriage. And he does it very urgently without custom because of the fact that he has been offered a job in America as a dentist. So that's pretty exciting for him, I'm assuming, if he's wanted to be a dentist. So he's asking for her hand in marriage to see if she says yes, then he'll decline that opportunity. But if she says no, then he'll go. And so things to keep in mind is that basically this is very against the custom of, I'm guessing, in Japan. So number one, which best describes what happens in the passage? So the answer for this one, to me at least, seemed to be either B or D right off the top, because C and A just, I mean, if you read it at all, you would see that they didn't really have an argument. It was actually a very friendly type of conversation. And C just seems wrong. Um, it it didn't really, to me, it didn't really seem like a reminiscent type of idea. So it was between A or D, rather B and D automatically for me. And so then D, I sort of thought about it for a second and I realized that, it's not really anywhere in the passage about a criticism and an unexpected course of action. I guess what made this appealing for me was an unexpected course of action, because I'm assuming in Japan to, outright just ask someone for their daughter's hand in marriage was very unexpected. It's against tradition. But it isn't a criticism. There's no one really criticizing anyone in the story. And so B to me seemed the most correct, because, like I said, Akira is doing something very surprising, a very surprising request, because he's not going to through some middleman to ask for the hand. He's doing it himself directly. Um, okay. So number two, which choice best describes the developmental pattern of the passage? So again, I was sort of left with two answers, because the last two just seemed to be outright wrong. So it wasn't amusing. It wasn't an amusing anecdote. It wasn't cheerful. It wasn't, there was a lot of ambiguity, there was a lot of questions unanswered, and so it was between A and B for me in this one. And so the reason I chose B in this case was because it's not really a careful analysis of a traditional practice. To me, I think that's where the end point was. This isn't a traditional practice that he's describing, but rather a detailed description of, what he did and how he asked certain things. It was very um, descriptive in that sense. It was direct conversation, very a narrator giving explanation, a narrator giving setting information. So it was very descriptive of that one encounter of Akira asking Chie for Naomi's hand. So B would be the correct answer, at least. That's how I thought about it. So number 3, directly most nearly means in lines 1 and 65. So Akira came directly here, this word, and directly here. So directly in this case means without mediation. And the reason we can say that is that it's we get the sense that the tradition, like I've been saying this whole time, is that you need someone else to sort of ask for that hand. Like you need that middleman to establish I guess, the proceedings. So he says, had he asked his mother to speak to his father to approach a um, go-between. So a go-between, I'm assuming, is that, again, that mediation. And then again it mentions the go-between and how much time it takes. And so to me, without mediation makes the most sense. Frankly, confidently, and with precision, that to me didn't fall. That didn't make sense. So number 4, which reaction does Akira most fear from Chie? So this question is, I guess, directly answered in line 63 here. So, Naomi, she asks if Naomi knows of his intent, and he responds, yes, we have an understanding. And then the key part here is, please don't judge my candidacy. So please don't judge how viable an option I am as a husband by the unseemliness, or by the, I guess, the breaking of tradition of this proposal. So, moreover, later it says, either method comes down to the same thing, a matter of parental approval. You know, what it's saying is that he doesn't want her to think, oh, the way he's asking is inappropriate. She doesn't want him to think that because it's so untraditional, I guess I should say, that it's inappropriate. Now, some people might think that immature. This answer was correct because it mentions here that you know how children speak so earnestly, so hurriedly, so endangeringly about things that have no importance in an adult's mind. That's how she viewed him as a child. But that's actually the narrator's point of view. It's not Akira's point of view. And so, to me, that's what made it obviously wrong. Okay, so which best describes the evidence for the answer to the next question? So I actually really appreciate these questions because they really make me, they really force the person to say, oh, does this answer actually make sense, and is it supported in the passage? Because if you pick an answer here and you can't find a proof in these questions, then you know this question's wrong. And if you have this question relatively right, like if you're sure of it, then you know that you should be able to find an answer here. So it's either like, it's pretty much a gimme for 2 points, at least in my opinion. So again, for this one, the answer is C. And if we go to C, which is lines 63 to 64, let's see, 63. So we have an understanding, again, exactly the same line that I use. Please don't judge my candidacy by the unseemliness of this proposal. Um, so that's that. So again, take advantage of those questions. Make sure that you find an answer choice there. Number 6. In the passage, Akira addresses Chie with, and so I thought all of these were relatively wrong. I thought everything but the answer was wrong, because it to me they just seem like not supported at all by the passage. So affection but not genuine love, that wasn't really addressed in the thing. Objectivity but not complete impartiality. To me, that's, I mean, pretty. It's almost um, a wrong answer in and of itself, because objectivity implies impartiality. Um, Amusement but not mocking disparagement. That's just, there's no. And respect but not utter deference. Utter deference is basically like the ultimate respect, if you want to think about it. So utter deference is like complete and utter, just there's no disrespect whatsoever. And so this is the answer, because though he was respectful, you can tell by his manner of speaking, his politeness, in situations like, um, let's see, forgive my disruption, but I came with a matter of urgency. Um, he stole a deferential peek at her face. He was very, very respectful. Um, but the thing that makes it not utter deference is because of the fact that, again, he's going against custom. And some might, that's in some ways disrespectful, because you're supposed to be traditional. I don't know if you can conjugate custom in that way. So basically, you're supposed to be traditional, because that shows the deference that you're supposed to show. But because he didn't follow customs, he didn't follow tradition, it shows that he didn't have utter deference, or that ultimate respect. So number 7, the main purpose of the first paragraph is to, so to me this one was like kind of annoying because of the wording of the last two. So question a suggestion. To me, there were a lot of questions here, a lot of like what I would call, I guess, ambivalence and ambiguity. He wasn't sure if what he did was right. There was like conflict in his mind. So question seemed like something I should be looking for, and analyze should also seem something that I should be looking for. Like, would Chie have been more receptive? Had he followed tradition? So so the narrator is analyzing what the person did. Um, but a suggestion makes this question wrong. There's no suggestion really given here. It's more of an introspective or analytical type of thing. But what I really didn't like about this answer choice was the word reaction. But I guess if you want to look about it in terms of reaction, you could just think about it in terms of like the reaction that Chie had. So he's thinking about the reaction that she could have had he gone the traditional route and talked to his mother, who would have talked to his father. So analyze the reaction in this case is correct. A and B just are wrong. And we'll do one more because time's almost up. So as used in line 2, form most nearly means, so in this case, form most nearly means custom, because again, it all comes back to, had he followed custom, had he followed that traditional route of having a mediator. So I think that's all the time we have for today, or rather for this video. Yeah, so I'll finish this and I'll start the next passage in the next one. Alright, so I will see you then.